Why are you so good at finding the negatives in pretty much everything? Why are you so good at forecasting that, yeah, things might seem okay now, but look out for this, that and the other? Well, of course, if you spend any time looking at media or social media, that definitely feeds into it. But this strong negativity bias in you is really something you need to get serious about, because it can't be ever serving you in any way to live in this ongoing state of fear and being able to completely zone straight in on the one thing that isn't good about something that maybe otherwise is pretty good, pretty helpful, pretty useful, all those things. And honestly, it's something I'm so used to working with in my coaching. And why is that? Well, it comes from two roots, which in a way are the same root. So the people who raised you, you may still have contact with them, you may not. But if you can pause and reflect for a moment, how did they go through life? So when things happened, when there was maybe a threat of losing a job, or I don't know, pretty much anything, what happened? Did they take a breath? And even when things turned out okay, did they sit in that space of, wow, this is amazing, I just feel so grateful that actually it's all okay? Or did they just look for the next thing, anticipate, even search for, like forensically looking for the part of this seemingly good thing that could now go wrong and be devastating and cost them lots of money or make them ill, or I don't know, there's just so many variations on that, isn't there? So think about that, because that is at the root of your negativity. When we are babies, when we are children, we're completely open to directly receiving and keeping all the experiences we have with the people who are raising us, particularly in the first 7 years of life. So our brainwave frequency is at a much slower vibration, slower rate, which means it's very useful when you need to quickly, for 7 years of life, learn how to be part of your tribe, part of the human race. Brilliant. It all just goes in. But if you are surrounded by people, which honestly, in my years and years of coaching people, I feel like pretty much all of us must have been, people who were basically scared. So your parents or the other people who raised you, they were scared. Well, why were they scared? Well, they were scared because their ancestors were scared, because their ancestors were scared. Many of our ancestors have lived through, in fact, all of our ancestors, war and shortages, sometimes famine, things like slavery. So that all gets passed forward to us. And then if we're not careful, we pass that forward. So the fear that was in generations back gets passed forward unless people do their work at this subconscious level. And then, you become the cycle breakers. So a note of real optimism. Then the other part of this is anxiety, which also comes from our childhood wiring and experiences. And the two of them just feed into each other. So when we're in an ongoing state of feeling, pretty stressed, pretty anxious most of the time, it's very easy, because we're stuck in a survival state of emergency, we're under attack, danger. It's really easy to perceive anything, a comment on Facebook, a headline on a news item, as, oh my God, this is going to be terrible. This is, all the predictions about we're going to have the worst winter ever. We're all going to end up you know, without any money, and tragically some people will because of things that are going on, but we're not all going to end up that way. But of course, just that headline activates your fear, your anxiety, and off you go again. So this happens early, this wiring in your system. And then, like the path I'm going down now, I mean, once upon a time this wouldn't have been a path, but because many people and many animals have come down this path, it's now very clear and it's the way through. So that's what happens in your system. It knows how to do this really quickly, really easily. And then another element of it is whenever we go the same route, we experience the same chemical reactions in our bodies and our brains, which become very familiar and almost like a comfort in a very weird, just make sure I don't fall down this big muddy bit, in a weird toxic way, because they're familiar. So get trapped in continual loop, continual habit, continual beliefs, all of which got handed to you, but which you cannot break free from on your own. I'd love to say that you can. I'd love to say, as many of the self-help books I've been studying at the moment will have you believe, just say this instead every day. Just stop doing that and just start doing this. It won't work. It really won't work. You do need to work with someone like myself who will work with your early subconscious wiring, beliefs, habits, and clear those out, upgrade your whole flipping system, and then you'll be free from all this stuff that is familiar, seems impossible to get rid of, but truly is.